like to welcome. Thank you. So I think we are ready now to start this webinar. So I would like to wish everyone a good morning and a good evening also over in China, Japan, and South Korea. We are very happy to have many participants for this webinar, which is the first webinar in our series in the SOMAT project about digitalization as a core topic for this project. So today we have many exciting presentations that will go into different aspects of digitalization and how we can understand that in the social material transformations that we are going through. So our project administrator, Cheng, will introduce the different speakers. But I think I am the first one, so maybe I can just introduce myself as the Cheng gets settled. So let me just share my screen. Let's see there. So I hope you can all see my screen. My name is Roger Søraa. I'm a professor in Science and Technology Studies at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. And together with Associate Professor Marius Korsnes, I am leading the SOMAT project that we have all our Asian partners here today as a part of. Today for my presentation, and all presenters have about 10 minutes to present and then 5 minutes for questions. So for my presentation for today, I will talk about how we can work towards fairness in AI worker management, which is a topic I have been researching for a couple of years now in a larger European project. So the BIAS project that this work is based on is funded by the European Union's Horizon Europe research program. It's a quite technical program, but we are leading it from the humanities faculty here at NTNU. It's a project with a size of 4.2 million euros, and we are about halfway into the project now. So in this project, we have several academic partners from Norway, from Iceland, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and also small, medium businesses and larger businesses and organizations from Ireland, Portugal, Estonia, and also Turkey. So together we are 9 partners in this consortium investigating AI in the workforce. So the project mission that we have is to empower the AI and human resource, or HR community, by addressing and mitigating AI biases. And we do this by having a socio-technical, interdisciplinary knowledge focus on the job-seeking process. So many of you have probably been in a job-seeking process, and we want to see what really happens when you are applying for a job. How does AI play a role in this? So we know from previous research that humans can discriminate quite a lot when hiring, for example, based on age, gender, race, or class. The most well-known discriminatory factor that we have is that we often like to hire people that are closer to our own selves. So this is called the similarity bias. But there are many types of biases humans do when hiring. These are just some examples of the long history of human discrimination at work. We know that women, for example, in the tech industry, face a lot of discrimination. Here in Norway, we often see news reports of people having to change their last name in order to sound more Norwegian, and I will get back to this in some of our fieldwork later. We have discrimination all across Europe of people being discriminated upon, for example, for being pregnant, for being over the age of where the company wants to hire, or national discrimination. But these are just some of many examples that we have seen already with the long history of human work. So what we wanted to focus on in this project is how AI is increasingly being used for recruitment. For example, finding, screening, and assessing candidates. For example, when you upload your CV to an online job seeking portal, you are giving quite a lot of data to be used and understood by different systems. So how can we ensure that the workforce becomes inclusive, that you're not discriminated upon, for example, on the age you have or the language that you have? This is quite complex. And when we add artificial intelligence to the mix, we have to make sure that AI does not reproduce human discrimination, or that it invents new forms of discrimination for job seekers. And I wanted to share with you some of the preliminary project results that we have from this project to help us think about how we can better understand this. So in the project, we did a survey with over 4,000 workers across Europe concerning their perceptions and experience of AI at work. When we started this project, it was right at the advent of generative AI, such as ChatGPT, and we also have, of course, several Asian large language models and AIs that have been deployed and are being deployed since. But we are seeing that workers across Europe, they are trying to balance this new reality of work with AI impacting them. We have also done over 200 in-depth interviews with workers, HR managers, AI developers, and done over 10 long-term in-depth site visits in companies on how AI is being developed and deployed. In addition, we have co-creation and capacity building events to align technology development with HR needs, mapping country and language specific indicators of bias in HR. So basically, we are seeing what is happening in specific countries, which technology is being rolled out, and how can we better understand this also from an HR side, which might not have that much training in how to use AI. We are also building a proof of concept natural language processing and case-based reasoning engine. So these are different AI techniques where we are identifying and mitigating different types of biases. And here we particularly want to focus on non-English languages. So for example, Norwegian is a fairly small language group for all our Asian partners. You know that we are only 5 million Norwegians in this country. So it's a fairly small language base that we have to understand, which means that for small languages, we are often not included in these large databases, or when we are included, it's not with as much data. And as we probably can see, the larger the databases we have, for example, for the English language or Chinese language, for example, we can understand the data much richer and much deeper. But what we have seen is that all these AI systems can reproduce human bias that we are not aware of. So I wanted to give you some examples. Because when you apply for a job, the job text that you send in, your CV, your job letter, can tell you quite a lot about a person. And even if we anonymize a CV, for example, by not telling the gender of a CV, we see that AI can dissolve quite a lot of patterns that are not explicitly visible to humans that AI can pick up. For example, your hobbies. So in Norway, we often list hobbies in CVs that can tell you quite a lot about your gender, your age, for example. And this is a quite delicate matter for automated recruitment tools that are trying to understand this complex human world. So this is a well-known example to the right with a large company that traditionally had hired men, where they tried to use an AI system to figure out who should they hire for the future. And since men had mostly been hired in the past, the AI naturally thought that men was a preferred category to hire within. In our project, we are doing quite a lot of qualitative observational studies, which I think can be especially interesting for the SOMAT project. So in Iceland, we are focusing on AI worker management systems that keep track on how employees perform. In Norway, we have a focus on employers and job seekers that negotiate AI use in recruitment processes. In the Netherlands, we have a particular focus on immigrant job seekers This is also something we're doing in Norway, and I will tell you a little bit more about this in the next slide. And in Italy, we focus on the imagined benefits and fears of AI. So one thing that I think can be particularly interesting for the SOMAT project is this case study that my colleague Shan Wang, who is a PhD candidate, who's also joining us today, has conducted in Norway and the Netherlands, where we have done individual case studies following 12 job seekers for a couple of months with the methodology of semi-structured interviews that were quite long, along with observation, shadowing, and the participant community that Shen targeted in this fieldwork was participants that were born and grew up in China, have a higher education background, their average age is around 35 years old, and they have stayed for more than 3 years in Norway and the Netherlands and are applying for jobs in these countries. And some of the key themes that we have seen so far are struggles and barriers in job seeking as immigrants, AI leverage in job seeking processes, and we're seeing some very interesting perceptions on fairness, diversity, and inclusion that helps us understand immigrant job seeking experiences. Lastly, I wanted to question what happens when someone applies for a job. How can we make sure that the right person get the job and ensure a fair hiring process? And fairness is a very important topic for us to understand, because what is really fairness? So the problem of fairness is that the challenge of bias in automated recruitments really start with defining what this concept means, because we have different disciplinary understandings of fairness, different social cultural understandings, and what is fair is not necessarily the same for the individual, for the company, for a specific minority group, and for society. And what we do in our project is to look specifically on procedural fairness, on how individuals are treated similarly when they are applying for the same job, so that me as a man are not asked different questions than a woman, for example, applying for the same job. We also focus on how AI treat minority groups in the project. And working quite closely with organizations and companies on how to better understand this. Lastly, for my last minute, I want to show you a little comic that I think is quite inspiring on how we can further understand fairness. So some of you might have seen this box picture before about reality being described as a place where some gets more than what is needed, while others get less than what is needed, here exemplified by someone watching a sports match. Then we have equality, where everyone is given the same support and opportunities, but of course that doesn't necessarily help if some have less to begin with. Then we have the concept of equity, where everyone gets the support they need, which produces equity. Or we can go a step further and talk about impartiality, where the causes of inequity are addressed and systemic barriers has been removed. We think we need to go a little step further and also focus on inclusion, where everyone is included and involved. So here represented by people also taking part of this sports match. So since we only have 10 minutes for each presentation, I think we have a couple of minutes for questions, if there are any. And I'm also going to just leave this up. If you happen to be in Europe, we have a coding summer school in Tallinn next month. And we also have different national labs for understanding these concepts, which you can access through the QR code. Also one international lab, which could be interesting also for our Asian partners. So I'm not sure if I can see any questions. I'm going to just leave this up, I think. But you can ask questions in the chat, or you can also just take the word. I think Marius or you can let me know if there are any questions. Yeah.
Yes, Jiang, you have a question.
Hi, Roger. Thank you for your presentation on the bias project. I was very interested in the multinational aspects of the project. My question is a very simple one. Is there any regulation or guideline for using AI systems for recruiting in Norway or other countries, or at least maybe for public sector least?
Thank you. It's a very good question with a really complicated answer. So we have several existing regulations, for example, on discrimination and who should be included in interviews, for example. These are often made before the big introduction of AI systems, so they are struggling a bit to fit within the technological possibilities, the regulatory landscape. In Europe, we have a big European law, the EU AI Act, that has been activated and is being implemented currently. Also in Norway and also in other associated countries, we are implementing this European AI Act, but it is proving quite difficult to figure out exactly where recruitment processes apply, because this is regulations that are based on risk factors. And whenever you deal with employment, you are automatically in a quite high risk category. But we are seeing that the regulatory landscape is struggling a bit to keep track on what is actually happening on the technological side.
Hi, Roger. May I ask a question? I'm curious that is AI already widely applied in the HR screening process across Europe? And what kind of international differences have you found from your study?
Thank you very much. So we see that it varies quite a lot. For example, in the larger countries such as Italy, we are seeing a higher adaptation of these systems. This can have some simple explanations that there are more people applying for jobs. In Norway, we are, as I mentioned, a quite small population, but we are also a country that consists of many small and medium-sized companies. So you don't necessarily get that many applicants for these jobs, which can impact how cost efficient it is to use AI. We are, however, seeing a use of more easy adaptation of AI, for example, using generative AI such as ChatGPT to help with grammar check and giving some initial IDs. But in Norway, we are not seeing the big rollout such as the larger countries are seeing with the use of these tools. And we also have a bit stricter rules in Europe on, for example, using videos that can be analyzed for facial expressions and such. So we are also continuing to investigate international differences on this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see we have two more hands, but I don't know. We have used the allotted time. What do you say, Roger? Should we save the questions for the end, or?
Yeah.
Yes, maybe you can write the questions in the chat, and we can then also see how we can get back to them, and I can try to answer some of them.
Yeah.
We progress.
I would like to give the floor to the next speaker, Heesun Shin from Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you can I share my screen?
Now you can share your screen.
Yes. You can all see my screen. Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shin, and I'm a PhD candidate at the Graduate School of Science and Technology Policy of KAIST. Today, I would like to share with you some reflections from my fieldwork on care robots in South Korea with a focus on Hyodol, a robotic companion used in eldercare. South Korea is among the fastest aging societies in the world. As of December 2024, the country has officially entered a super-aged society, meaning that more than 20% of the population is aged 65 or older. But beyond demographics, what's striking is a social reality. 1 in 3 older adults lives alone. And in this context, technology is being promoted as part of the solution to fill emotional and practical care gaps. And the government and municipalities have begun distributing robots to older adults. And one of the most widely used robots in this space in Korea is called Hyodol. The name combines hyo, meaning filial piety, with dol. And more than 10,000 units have been distributed since 2017. And what is notable here is that most of Hyodol's sales have been made in institutional levels, not by private purchases. So if you see this image on the slide, a city mayor is standing behind 5 older adults who have been invited to a ceremony to receive the Hyodol robots from the municipality. So Hyodol is designed to be more than just a smart device. It resembles a grandchild, as you can see from this image, in form and tone, offering daily reminders for medication, greetings, and encouragement. While the Hyodol body goes to the older adults, the robot body itself is not only one part of the entire system. It is composed of the smartphone application and web monitoring system. The smartphone app functions as a remote controller through which caregivers set up the robot according to the older adult's preferences. It also shows how frequently the older adults have interacted with the robot, such as tapping its back, stroking its head, or pushing its ears. And the web monitoring system offers institutional managers to view the entire list of older adults who are using the robot with their interaction data coded in red, gray, or blue. So from a science and technology studies perspective, we don't just look at what technology is, but how it is used, imagined, and integrated into daily life. And digitalization in this context isn't just about deploying smart machines. It's about reorganizing everyday practices, reshaping roles, and even redefining what counts as care. So by breaking down the journey of Hyodol into development, distribution, use, and maintenance, which I've been following for the past few years, we could see, for instance, how the robot gathers a group of people involved in robotic care, and how that establishes new care practices. So let's look more closely at Hyodol's design and the cultural assumptions behind this. Hyodol's design is very specific to Korean context. It's not a humanoid robot. It's soft, cute, and it's clearly meant to resemble a grandchild. If you see this image in the slide, it's written in Korean context as "Grandma and Grandpa, I will always be with you." And it speaks in scripted phrases developed by caregivers and experts. The idea is to combine emotional comfort as if it's given by a grandchild with routine supports to reminding them of taking meals, taking medications, to get up, to go to sleep. But this design also reflects specific cultural values, like the importance of familial intimacy and the role of filial piety in Korean society. So the robot is reshapes visions of what aging should look like and what good care should feel like. At the same time, it raises deeper questions such as who defines and what counts as good care, and how these ideas are embedded in the robot's design, such as its speech, routines, and user scenarios. And how does Hyodol's introduction into public welfare system shape societal visions of aging and care in South Korea? And we also need to consider the robot's materiality, to think about the robot as a physical object. Hyodol lives with older adults. It becomes part of their home, their routines, and their relationships. And like any material object, the robot can break down. So when the robot stops working, older adults call welfare center staff, and these caregivers then call the company or bring the robot to a repair workshop. This image is the one I took, and this staff from the company visited the older adult's home to update the software. And this shows that digitalization requires more than just installation of technology. It takes ongoing work, fixing glitches, updating softwares, and adjusting how it's used. The robot's presence introduces new kinds of care work, including the technical, emotional, and logistical. And then this brings us to another set of questions, such as how care is reorganized when a robot enters the home, and how caregivers and welfare workers involved in not only emotional, but also technical maintenance, and what forms of knowledge, emotional, practical, and even improvisational are required to keep the robot meaningful and functional. Through these breakdowns and adaptations, we see that robotic care is never fully automated. It always involves human actors behind the scenes. And based on such ideas that digitalization involves changes in care practices and relationships and responsibilities, me and Professor John here suggested the concept of robotic multi-care network to show that technologies and humans all together form a loosely connected network of care. In this network, care is not just between one caregiver and one recipient. It's distributed across many people and systems, including the monitoring system, the older adults, institutional managers, caregivers, company staff, and also sometimes the family members. And within this network, the older adults related to the robots in diverse ways. Some treated it as a grandchild, speaking to it, dressing it, hugging it, while others saw the robot more as a communication tool, a way to connect with the caregivers and social workers who checked their interaction through the robot's data system. So robots, rather than replacing, distributed care. And it transformed how care is coordinated across people, time, and space, blending tactile and digital, and proximate and remote practices. To wrap up, Hyodol's case offers us more than a story about a cute robot or the use of new technology in an aging society. Through the lens of SDS, Hyodol is not just a machine. It's a site where broader socio-technical shifts are taking place. Its presence signals a deeper change in how care is being reshaped through the interplay of technology and cultural values, with welfare institutions acting as a key intermediates between. So by unpacking the dynamics surrounding Hyodol, we can better understand how care is being reorganized. Not necessarily who benefits or who is not excluded, but how responsibilities shift, how new relations are formed, and how the boundaries of caregiving are reconfigured. And finally, a more proper question that we may want to ask in the digitalization of society is not simply whether robots can care, but what kinds of care do they help create? What kinds of human work make that care possible? And how does this reshape our understanding of what care is? Okay. We have 10 minutes. This is the end of my slide. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Heesun. We have some time for questions. If there are any, I see a lot of applauding hands. But does anyone have a question or a comment for Heesun? You can either write in the chat or you can raise a hand. I see Kyriaki has a question.
Yeah, hi, really fascinating study. Thank you so much for your presentation. I was wondering, how do these robots respond? Do they respond like children? And whether or not now there's more of AI embedded in them or not, or there are plans for that? Because I think that would be really fascinating to kind of thinking about having this doll that could talk to you as an adult or not, and then also start having conversations with you. So yeah, just curious about that. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So the one I looked at, this version, is not equipped with AI. So it just makes speeches based on pre-scripted phrases. So it's all recorded. So and most of which are based on the time-based prompts. So if a caregiver inputs the daily patterns of older adults, for example, when they wake up, when they have meals, when they have their medications, this doll will just make this doll will speak like a child, like a grandchild to the older adults, saying, for example, "Grandma, it's time to wake up," or like, "Grandma, it's time for you to have some meals." But they have a variety of these lines. So in order to less sound it like repetitive. But then what's striking is that still while it only makes pre-scripted lines, I saw that there was some kind of relationship being formed between the older adults and the doll. And about a year ago, this company has released the second version, which is now equipped with AI. So, but not many have been distributed. So maybe it's in the future I'll be able to see how these older adults actually interact with this robot when there is more distributed in the field. But now it's not that much, not that many units distributed.
Great, thank you.
I see there's no another question, and if you have question, you can leave in the chat. Now I would like to give the floor to Xu from Tsinghua University.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this session, and thank you for the SOMAT project. My name is Chen Xu, and I'm PhD candidate in the sociology at Tsinghua University. and currently a visiting PhD student at the University of Bologna. Today, I would like to share my research from my fieldwork on environmental governance in China, especially the phenomenon of the digital formalism. In short, it describes a situation where digital tools are widely used, but not always in the meaningful ways. Instead of their improving governance, automation, and the data systems often become a burden, especially for the frontline staff. And from March to the October last year, I conducted the field work at a city-level environmental production agency in China. I followed the staff in both office work and field inspections, and I observed the data reporting, some meetings, and some document reviewings, and also collect the water samples. It helps me to understand how digital systems are used in practice and why they often become a source of stress and extra work. So here is what one official told me. That before automation, we only tested the water once a month. But now, with the real-time monitoring system, water problems are detected immediately. So they have to face more pressure and responsibility. So instead of making their work easier, automation has made it more stressful. So every system's report means more explanation and less time for the real field work. And China now relies on a nationwide network of automatic monitoring stations, and it becomes a network of those systems. So the work data is uploaded every 4 hours to the central online platforms. And when the systems find the abnormal readings, the staff must manually verify them. So if the data is not good, the local government may file appeals trying to have some explanation or dispute the data. So it may create more paperwork and communication loops. So although the system looks efficient from the above, but it's always sometimes add the pressures at the low-level government. So here you can see this is the what the local digital management system looks like. There are many online platforms. Sometimes some are for the monitoring, for the reporting, or the early warning and supervision, and so on. So each online system looks functionally on its own, but for the government staff, they have to input the data into each one and day by day. So from the outside, the online platform, it seems like a smart governance system, but in the reality, it leads to the data overload and the digital formalism. So here is how another staff has told me that he spent all the day just entering the same data into the different systems and one by one. So they really have a little time to for the real problem solving. So and instead of make them work easier, the digitalization has created a constant state of urgency. You can see the picture on the right. It shows a lot of time deadline for the government staff for the digital reporting. So what I mean the digital formalism? So it's I think it means that showing the work, but not necessarily doing the work. So instead of just solve the real problems. Officials in this system focus on just to filling out the forms, logging into the online platforms, and chasing the numbers to make the numbers looks more good. So the more time is spent looking they are very busy than making the real impact. So it feels digital, but it's not always meaningful in the reality. But the digital formalism is not just about that. It's often a strategy for the government staff. So if the water quality declines, someone will be blamed. So the local staff, they need to prove they have tried their best. So that's why the reports, the shares, the records, or the photos are become the evidence for their efforts. So just one official has said, everyone knows the paperwork is just for show, but without it, we can't defend ourselves. And another reason, in the current systems, the real platform is hard to achieve because with the development of the city and the population, so just keeping the water quality stable is already very challenging. But there is no reward for these things, only accountability for the decline. So instead of focusing on the real environmental improvements, many officials turn to the digital platforms as substitutes for the political achievements. So why? Because first, it's very visible. They can show up in the screen. And the second thing is it's very quick. They can be launched faster than the real change. And the last thing is it's very low risk. It's easier to manage than the pollution. So just as one staff told me, we all know that those systems are just the digital formalism. But if I were a leader, I would build them too. So building those digital platforms becomes a safer path to promotion than just solving the real problems. So let's think about into deep structure ways. So and to understand the root causes of these phenomena. So we need to look at how different levels of government operate. So the central government in China, they always focus on the final outcomes, such as the overall environmental of the rivers or lakes. But the middle level governments, they are more care about the rankings and the appearance. So they focus on the forms, KPIs, and monthly rankings. For the local staff, on the other hand, they always deal with the real pollutions and the daily change. So there is a mismatch. The top focus on the indicators, and the middle are on the performance rankings, and the bottoms on the practical things. So everyone is responding to the different pressures and with the different strategies. So just as the Professor Ying has said, the data makes the official, and the official makes the data. In many cases, the digital technology are used not to solve the problems, but to display the platforms. So the staff shift their focus from the real things to being seen as working. So the digital formalism is not just in official sense. It's a rational response to the performance-driven and accountability-focused system. And this was I want to say today. And thank you for your listening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this interesting presentation. I see we already have a question or a hand raised from Soljili from KAIST.
Hi, thanks for your interesting presentation. I have a small two questions. So are similar automated monitoring systems being introduced for other environmental areas such as air or soil? And for the second question, how accessible are these monitoring data to the public? And is it possible to access data as a foreigner like me? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for your question. And the first question is not only widely used in the water pollution, but also in air pollution. And the air pollution is early used in China. And it's the first question. And also now in most of the environmental area, the government will use the digital technology to monitoring the environment. And the second one for the public users. And yes, this automatic data will be shown to the public through the website or the mobile application. But all those data has been confirmed by the government first. So first is the machines data. Then the government will manually certification the data. So then it has been published online for the public. Everyone can see it, but not everyone in China are interested in this data. They are more caring about their daily experience, I think. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. I think we have time for one more question. If there are anyone who are wondering about anything. Yes, Alexandra.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear? Oh, thank you very much. It's very interesting. I was wondering if you use some particular theory, social theory or theory of bureaucracy. In my perception, it's a very interesting case for Niklas Luhmann and self-referential systems approach. What's your preferred, so to say, reference?
Yeah, thank you very much. And today, what I present is just a part of my final dissertation. So, and more about the field work. So I just talk less about the theory things. So in my research, I focus on the surveillance. Maybe the focus, the theory that the state will use this technology to see the social facts. And one is the focal, and another I want to use the theory is the James Scott, his book "See Like a State." So I think this monitoring system is like the eye of the state. That the state can use these new technologies to see the social facts more easily and to create the visibility for this social fact. Yeah, that's my answer. Thank you.
I'm Xinru from Institute of Science Tokyo. Today, I'm very happy to be here with our SOMAT friends to discuss topics on digitalization. And I'd like to talk about typefaces, especially how typeface technology has evolved from metal to digital, and how this evolution enables more individuated reading experiences. To begin with, what is a typeface and why is it important? A typeface is essentially the design of letters and characters. When we look at the slides, books, signage, and logos, and street, we are surrounded by typefaces. Typefaces are the visual form that language takes, which makes them a fundamental part of our daily lives. And without typefaces, written communication simply cannot exist in many cases. Letters and characters need a tangible shape to be seen and read. So typefaces are not just decorative elements, but they are the very embodiment of written language. This makes them important as foundation of written communication, affecting both meaning and accessibility of the language. And typefaces also represent a tangible intervention point in written communication. And unlike many other aspects of communication that are very difficult to modify, typefaces are concrete elements that we can adjust. And changing the typeface is often as simple as making a selection from a menu, yet it can impact how text is perceived and processed. So when we consider the elements of written communication, we can see that typefaces operate at the intersection of many factors. As the visual form of language, typefaces mediate between content and reader. The reader brings their own background, education, culture, and physical conditions to the reading process. And this complex interplay means that the same typefaces may work differently for different readers. I'd like to focus specifically on the interrelationship between technology and readers. How technological developments in typeface design have shaped who can effectively engage with text, and conversely, how diverse reader needs have driven technological innovation. Okay, let's trace the evolution of typeface technology. From manuscript to movable metal type, then to font typesetting and digital type. Each technological shift expanded what was possible. And Japanese metal type appeared much later than Western metal type due to the complexity of the writing system with its thousands of characters. But what's important to note is that these technologies were developed primarily for mass production and distribution, both driven and constrained by economic and technological conditions. This meant that they targeted what was perceived as the average reader, typically those with those without reading difficulties or special needs. And what I want to argue today is that as technology advanced, more readers could be included as readers of text, especially readers with diversity needs. For example, the elderly, people with low vision, people with developmental dyslexia, and non-native speakers. This diagram shows how metal type primarily served a narrow definition of readers, leaving many readers marginalized. And the transition to font typesetting began expanding who could be included. And the underlying technology made it easier to create more variations of typefaces, which started to address the needs of a wider range of readers. And with digital technology, we can see an even greater expansion. Typefaces could now be specifically designed for certain groups of people with particular needs, such as the elderly. And looking towards the future, technology continues to evolve towards individually included readers. And these represent personalized typography, where typefaces aren't just designed for broad categories of groups, but can be adjusted for individual needs and preferences. However, this evolution also presents new challenges, which I will touch upon at the end of the presentation. Okay, now let's look more closely at each type technology and how it advanced. So metal type, as we know, has significant physical constraints because each size required separate production. And for Japanese, this meant creating over 20,000 ideographic characters for each size. And carving type at actual reading sizes was very difficult, and it required incredible precision. Apprentices typically began training around 9 to 10 years of age, and even with decades of training, only few with talent could master this craft. So this high barrier to entry meant very few people could actually create typefaces, and it also limited design diversity and also who could be served by typography. And this limitation is visible in how Japanese typefaces evolved over time. These examples show the same character E in different iterations of the typeface from 1896 to 2009. While there are differences, the overall design remained relatively stable for decades, partly due to the technological constraints. And then we came to fourth typesetting. Fourth typesetting represented a transition of type technology from physical to photographic processes. And the core principle of this technology was relatively simple. So characters were created as images on transparent film or transparent glass. Then they projected onto photosensitive paper to be printed. So it's the same mechanism as photography. With this technology, you can see this room filled with very heavy metal type cases could be replaced by several thin glass plates. And it is enough to print books. Now designers can work on paper with characters photographically reproduced. So this improved flexibility and efficiency, which also resulted in more design options. In Japan, this technology led to many new typefaces like Hypos and NAR, which featured characteristics that made text more accessible for certain readers, such as thinner letter forms and larger spaces within characters, as you can see in this image. And digital type brought another change. Instead of physical objects, letters become mathematical descriptions. So just with one file on a computer, it can suit every situation. So this democratized the creation of typography, and it led to an explosion in typeface diversity. This includes typefaces addressing specific needs and preferences. For example, you can see universal design fonts, which are designed to be readable for as many people as possible. And also you can see inclusive design fonts, which target specific groups, such as the elderly and people with low vision. So we can see this progression of technology included more readers who were previously marginalized in written communication. And looking forward, there are still needs to support individually included readers. And this is exactly what we are working toward with our Jibun font project, which can be translated into My Font project in English. And this project aims to achieve individuated reading experiences by developing parametric design system that allows for fine adjustment of character shapes by readers themselves. With testing some of the initial results in other collaborative projects, we are working on this parametric system. And however, as we expand who can be included through technological means, we encounter new challenges that go beyond technical questions. So as we conclude, I'd like to raise 3 critical questions. First, does optimizing fonts reinforce text-centric communication which marginalized certain readers in the first place? And by making text more accessible, are we avoiding more fundamental questions about communication modalities and social structures? Second, what non-textual communication alternatives should we develop alongside improved typography? And finally, how do we balance technological solutions with fundamental social change? Technology alone cannot solve issues of exclusion and marginalization. Okay, that's all from me, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Are there any questions or comments? Then you can please raise your hand if maybe if there are no immediate questions, and I think you can stop sharing your screen probably so we can see everyone.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks
Please
for
go ahead.
Yuchen's help. So we have a collaboration already across the cyber. Yeah, because my maybe my system some problem, so I couldn't share this version for the so Yuchen has helped me now to demonstrate. So you can see the screen. So we have a collaboration again to value creating already. Yeah. Today, okay. Thanks for a great honor and a great pleasure to take on this series about Norway and East Asia, the digitalization, especially on digitalization side. So today my topic is how to deepen the collaboration to co-creating value on the digital and now the AI times, how the collaboration between different social group within a country or the collaboration between different countries, because you know that as a digitalization, it's now many opportunities and many, I think, uncertainties. So we can strategically. So today, so my presentation maybe from a more macro level to look at now the digital and the smart age, how we can capture the value with the collaboration. Okay, thanks. Now we can see that for the data, we always see the big data, but nowadays you can see for the younger generation people, they are embedding on the super mobile data with every day with the mobile screen, and also they link each people with the social data, Facebook, WeChat, and many. Also, I know the European. Maybe Shichen. I will. This way. I will. Maybe I can say next, and you can go to the next page. Thank you. So we can see but also cloud data This is the cloud computing. Maybe people not very attach importance, but it's actually nowadays the cloud data becomes as the older digital platform in West and in Asia, because as the cloud computing enabling the AI can be more tackle the huge data, integrated data. Now we can see the OpenAI, ChatGPT, or nowadays like the DeepSeek, some advanced. It's all based on the different data technology and how we can successful to leverage the daily life, industry landscape, and the global economy. Next, please. Okay. Today I will talk something about how China has been link the rest of the world to on this the digital and smart age, and how to how to leverage in the innovation and institution support and the digitalization and the industry change. Next, please. I can see that we all know that the China since the 2001 after entered the WTO has a quick to embedding the global value chain, and also we can see the IT and electronics development become super manufacturing hub, but also one of the largest market to use this IT service and the electronics. Different electronics equipments, and already as the 1.4 billion people, so naturally become the internet and mobile, the large the user groups. Next, please. First, we look at my talk deeper. We can see that I do some science metrics to look at what's now in the popular in the academic management study, how the key themes, and we can see the digital transformation. I use the Web of Science to look at the international journals to how the scholars has been from the different hubs to linking the different community to look at the digitalization, digital transformation. And now the digital transformation becomes bigger and bigger attractive to linking the different themes. Next, please. We all talk about the digital innovation already in the society, in the practice, and also in business school and public management school. And people talk about the digital innovation, not only impact on the business opportunities and the values. We also talk about this radical stimulation on the beyond the business scope to the nature, to the society, to the environmental, and ethics. Next, please. If we look at the hardware, the infrastructure, China since the 2001 has building one of the largest IT infrastructure, and this infrastructure has been enabling the data transformation, data transformation, data storming, and dealing with the huge data on the large, like the mobile network, one of the largest optical broadband network and mobile network, and also the super data centers, the business AI data centers. Next, please. This infrastructure, we realize this infrastructure should be more open and widespread to across the different social groups, with the change the different application highly accessible and more open source software based. We can see the Ali, like the Tencent, like the many TikTok, and this super platform they leverage this infrastructure to give more about the innovative the service to the people, especially the aging society now in Asia. And also, I think I will share later. Next, please. Just about we talk about the business side, we can see a different super business platform, digital platform already emerged now in the as the leading the sites. But also we can see that as the industry application from the big data to big coding, more and more data has been embedding on the business process. Next, please. Also, we can see that now the circle, global economic circles realize that the valuable resource is how to leverage the value of the super data now in a more efficient and more smarter mode. We can see the hardware and software are being more creating now a hybrid infrastructure is very powerful infrastructure to support now the generative AI, the use. Next, please. The digital transformation is now to affect the large emerging economies, not only on the business, but also the social lives. We can see the mobile payment now in China. You already know that China has the largest mobile payment the use, and now it's very difficult to find the cash now in our daily life because it's the embedding every corner and points of our daily life, and also benefit on the many innovative business model and social service model. Next, please. So another one is for the AI. We all know the AI development from the 2017 China realized the AI's significance. The central government has announced the AI development plan in 2011 to look at China must be a leading AI powerhouse by before the 2030, and it's been more benefit on the business and the social value, and also it's the key importance to be upgrading more the values and the leverage to dealing with many social challenges. Please, medical care and nurturing and for the aging society. Please. Next, please. Okay, this is I show some the Tencent leverage open city service for older people, citizen. Leveraging is the WeChat Pay. So every people has the WeChat Pay account. So you can Tencent enabling every people leverage the mobile apps to each the utility payment, traffic penalty, or even the passport applying. So you put the most more and more the possible the public service on the mobile screen, and as as a spring board, you can choose it, integrate, and you can click the layer by layer to find how to finish the service by the Tencent platform, please. And we can see also the education, medical care, nursing, traffic management, security service. The infrastructure has been enabling, for this the smart city. You now call the smart the traffic and big data. So it's the leverage integrate. Next, please. So it's we can see the double engine is the business value creating and the social demand, and how to leverage this. So many startups, also the entrepreneur and the social demand and the business demand. Next, please. So the AI, the 2017's the AI plan is for this as a key upgrading for the Chinese the manufacturing system and the social service like the medical system. They need the transformation, but they need to be more strategic transformation. Next, please. AI catching up is then the several the key per plan and pick up some bigger platforms to get more resource to doing more basic science the data foundation resource for the AI. And also we can see the university and the public institute, they get encouraged to doing more basic research on this one. And also the application models, like now the large language models is now changing from the consumer system to the industry system. Next, please. We can see that how to using the digital smart city to the people society. We can see more and more the minor group. They need more help. They need more help. How to leverage the strong enough digital technology to help this minor group to be, they can be more get a better life. It's not only the responsibility of the platform provider. It's not only the responsibility for several sectors or department.
于老师，您的时间已经到了，就是您现在就是听不见您的声音。就是现在时间已经到了。
吗？
对，我们需要
它是自动的是吧？它是自动的。OK。
我们好，谢谢。
OK，no problem。可以，这样。OK，OK，Please，往前走吧。你们就往前走吧，我就到这儿吧。
好的，谢谢。我怎么退出去了？现在。
好的，没问题。控制时间了，没问题。还能往下走吗？走不了了是吧
？Is there any questions for the presentation and also for the previous speaker?
Thank you very much for the presentation. And as you, Cheng, said, we have a couple of minutes for questions or reflections from the presentation we just heard, or also for the previous presenter. If anyone has any questions or comments, we're happy to discuss them.